Hello, hello, everybody. How are you? This is Dionne Williams. I am so excited tonight. I am the creator of the Emerge Fashion Show, which takes place during New York Fashion Week. And this Emerge Design Talk is an extension of the Emerge Fashion Show, where we started at the beginning of the pandemic, where we give stylists and creatives and fashion designers some inspiration during the time when we were all quarantined in, and it just kept on going. And I have interviewed some heavyweight fashion icons in the industry, and today is no different. I am super excited about the fashion icon that I will have on today, Miss Misa Hylton. She is credited with shaping the looks of hip hop, female hip hop artists in the 90s, and her style concept is still influencing artists today. And I'm going to bring her on board. She is, hold on one sec. And it's Misa. Hi, Misa.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, thank you so much for joining me.
For having me.
Thank you so much. I was telling you before that I really appreciate everyone is really excited about you being on board. You have style. Your style concept have shaped the entire '90s hip hop community. So we are super excited today, and people are just can't wait to hear your story.
Okay.
So you grew up in New York,
I
and you have a rich cultural background. Like, how did you grow up? How was it growing up for you in New York?
growing up really I grew up at a really special time. Growing up in the 80s. That I gravitated towards like street fashion and hip hop music, and that really spoke to me. And I was like in the middle of this high energy in New York that I don't believe is happening any place else. I was like right in the mecca of it all. And also my background, my grandmother is Japanese, my grandfather is Jamaican West Indian, my mother is Jamaican and Japanese, and my father's African American. And so I had the best of all these worlds and all this culture growing up, which played a big influence on how I saw the world, how I saw image. And it just has always been, you can see it through all my work and everything that I've done. So it's like hip hop, the Japanese influence, West Indian influence, and of course, African American influence. And so my life was loaded with all of that early on growing up.
That is so nice. So, how did you get interested in fashion growing up in New York? How did you get interested and start learning about it?
It was very natural. I actually did not ever um, learn about fashion. You know what I mean? Fashion was something that came natural for me,
Yeah,
a way that an outlet for me to express myself. I was the first place that I could express my creativity. I was always playing around with my image, my hair
yeah.
color, my friends and family, all of the people that were around me. So it was a natural gift that I just stepped into. It was very organic and very natural and very authentic. I just paid attention to wardrobe, to image, to fashion, to clothing, hair, nails, everything about a look, really spoke to me. And it was something that I paid attention to. And so I was, like I said, the first place that I would express this creativity. And as I went on, I would begin to style my friends and my aunties, people from prom, and I,
Yeah.
I used to think I was a hairdresser. I still do. I be cutting people's hair and coloring their hair, and and I could do it really good, but I don't have a license. And I was just able to really work with hair and fashion and wardrobe very well from an early age.
You started off at an early age. I think like 16 or 17. I was reading when
Mhm.
you were working with Uptown Records when Sean Diddy Combs was there under Andre Harrell.
Yeah.
How did you get to that position? How was working at that time at Uptown?
Okay, so I was dating Puff when I was 16 years old, and my last year of high school, he went from being an intern to being an A&R. And so I would hang out a lot with him in his office when he got that position. And back then, Uptown Records was like urban Motown.
Yeah.
You know, it was just an amazing place to be. It was so much energy and music, and you could run into Heavy D, Guy, Bobby Brown, Finesse and Sinquest, Father MC, Al B. Shore. You know, these people were just floating around the office,
Yeah.
meeting with Andre, and I was right there at the right place at the right time. So when it came time for Puff to work on Jodeci's project, he was in charge of not only the putting the album together, but also their look. And
Okay.
I was at the right place at the right time with these natural gifts and talents. I always looked at image and wardrobe. I was inspired by music. Growing up, like hip hop music and R&B music, and then Puff was creating this new sound of hip hop and R&B together. So it was just really a magical moment. And it would be the start of a long legacy, you know, just by me being at the right place at the right time. And just just putting one foot forward. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what I was doing, what I would be doing. I just knew that I was going to help with this project. And so the first video that came out was called Gotta Love. And Puff wanted to do this look like with baseball caps and hoodies and combat boots and rain suits, and that had never been done before. Most singers, R&B singers, would dress up if they
This
sang love song,
this was for Jodeci, right?
Jodeci. And so um, we had to sell this idea to Andre Harrell,
Ooh.
and he was like, I don't know about that. So after meeting with Andre for about 2 hours, he finally gave in and gave us that opportunity. So I was like Puff's backup, you know. And so he was expressing the look that he wanted to do, things that we talked about fashion wise, and I was just there to back him up and to help convince Andre to let us do it. And Andre was the most amazing creative and person and visionary, and he always listened to young people and respected their opinions and wanted to know what they thought was hot and wanted to know what, you know, he really listened. And he would give us a hard challenge us a
Yeah.
little bit, but if we could stand in what we believed and
Yeah.
really sell what we were talking about, he would give us a shot. And so that's how I got started. That was the first music video that I styled, my first styling job. I was actually assisted Puff, and yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like in the 90s, that's my day. So
Yes.
you all were influencing us. You all were influencing us during that day in college and out of college. So I know that was magical, like you mentioned, like more urban Motown. How was Andre Harrell and working with him during that time? You kind of went through it a little bit. And how did he impact your career?
Well, I mean, listen, it is a lot of us that we would
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, Jodeci, Puff, Al B. Shore, Heavy D. I could go on and on. Chris Rock, even, um, that would have to give Andre the credit for. I mean, you could even I could go on to the Bad Boy artists because they came from us, like
Yeah.
Total Faith and Big or whatever. So Andre touched so many people's lives. He was the most amazing creative. He saw in others what they didn't see in themselves, and he told you what it was, and it made you have to own it and live up to it and see it in yourself. I remember the first time he went to visit Mary J. Blige in Yonkers in her project, and he told her mother she's going to be singing for kings and queens one day.
And
And
he was right.
went to speak that blessing over your life when you still in your situation, still trying to get on, still trying to figure it out. And that's the type of person Andre was. He spoke life into us.
Oh my goodness. So what was your style concept? I'm going to name a couple of your artists back then in Uptown, some stories like how you created the look. Like you mentioned with Jodeci, when they were started off, you all, Andre and most of the execs thought that, when you're R&B group or a singing group, you should be more polished. That's correct.
Yes, yes, they did think that. And that's because that's what had been done before. But when you're a visionary and you're someone who is not afraid to live outside the box, hang outside the box, and do something different, and really um, speak to your vision and believe in it and believe in yourself. The opportunities are endless. I mean, if he gave us a challenge, if he challenged us and we just said, oh, okay, well, yeah, we'll just do
Yeah.
it, then Jodeci would not have had the impact that they had, which was setting the tone for how the male R&B singer, male R&B groups looked at that time. It just changed the whole game. And so, yeah. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. You did, yes, because they were wearing the baseball caps, the
Yeah.
Tims, the
Yes.
baggy clothes. So yeah, that was iconic. When they came out, that was an explosion.
Of that because it represented youth culture, it represented hop culture. We wanted to see people that looked like us, that felt like us, that we could relate to. Just because they were going on to be on TV and to become these superstars, that didn't mean that they had to change who they were at heart. That you
Yeah,
could show up the way you are, and that's perfect. And of course, a stylist job is to fine tune and take the look to the next level, and that's what we did. But we wanted to represent for youth culture and for the young people. And
no,
we also thought it was pretty fly to be singing songs like Forever My Lady and Come and Talk to Me, those beautiful long love songs, and have this edgy look.
yeah. So when you got to Little Kim, what was that concept with when you started working with Little Kim?
When I started working with Little Kim, that was after I had worked with Mary, because after Jodeci, I went on to work with Mary.
Yeah.
Andre wanted me to come in and work with her, both from Westchester County, New York. And so we related. Westchester County has its own culture, its own vibe. It's very similar to Harlem,
Hmm.
more suburban. And we loved hip hop, and we loved like hip hop fashion, and we also loved like streetwear and the look that we saw of the hustlers and the people that we would see outside that used to wear Dapper Dan and door knocker earrings,
Yeah.
fur coats, and that whole thing. So
Yeah. So with Mary, Mary was next. So yeah, what was your concept with Mary?
yeah, so back then it wasn't really a concept. It was about really connecting with the client, who they are, how they want to look, understanding the music, and just being inspired by it. All very natural. It wasn't like, oh, let
Yeah.
me go back and sit down. Now it's such a business and
Yeah.
but it was really very simple. And I think that creativity at its root is that,
Yeah.
and allowing yourself to sometimes keep it very simple. There's going to be a lot of business that has to happen around fashion styling, fashion design, and when you're creating a line or when you're working with clients. But it starts very, very basic, and that's through connection. That's through listening, not only with your ears but your eyes and everything. Understanding who that client is, who they want to be, understanding the goals of the record label, the management, and everybody around. So you kind of just take in all this information, and then come up with a look that is true to who that person is, that they are comfortable with and connected to.
So
Mhm.
tell me about your time with Mary J. Blige when you were working with her and when you
Yes.
started creating her looks.
Yes. When I started working with Mary, it was um, okay. When I started working with Mary, it was right after Jodeci, and I connected with Mary instantly. We're both from Westchester County. She's
Yeah.
from Yonkers. I'm from Mount Vernon, and the culture in Westchester. We have our own culture. We have our own way of doing things. We have our
Mhm.
own swagger, if you will. It's very similar to Harlem and the Bronx. And so there were things that we just understood about each other and style, and that we both loved. Um, we were like sisters from the beginning. We just
Yeah.
clicked. It just was like a match made in heaven. And so again, working with a female singer, they wanted Mary to dress up, or there
Yeah.
was this pressure on what her look would be like.
Mhm.
And Mary was not that girl, but who she was fly, and it was a void for someone like her that young people could relate to, that women
Yeah.
from the urban, um like women from women who loved hip hop,
That's right.
women who loved baggy pants, women who loved to just throw on a baseball cap
That's
and be
right.
fly. There was a void for someone like her.
Yeah.
And so it was about connecting with her and Andre and coming up with a look that reflected exactly who she was. And again, music was changing. You know, she was singing R&B songs over hip hop tracks. And so it just made sense, but it was very organic. Everything that I did as far as styling was organic. It was authentic, and being in that authenticity allowed me the space to create this specific styling aesthetic, this specific look
Yeah.
that people still love to this day.
Yeah, and I love that you guys are still friends to this
Oh
day.
yes,
I watch
yes,
you
yes.
guys on IG
Mhm.
and vacation and family. I just love to see your friendship.
Yes, yes, that's my girl.
So how about Little Kim? Some of the styles that you created for her was so iconic.
Hmm.
Her look at different music awards that I'm about to pull up here.
Yeah.
How was working with Little Kim?
Little Kim, amazing. She was so fearless and courageous and always down to do something out of the box. And so I had met Kim during the time that I met Biggie. She had the first time I met her was at the Juicy video.
Oh,
And she was this little rambunctious 4'11" young lady who has so much swagger and so much bravado about herself. She just stood out. And when I saw her, she had like the short Anita Baker haircut, and she had on the cutest little bathing suit, but she had a strong presence. And that was the first time I met her. But I didn't know she was a rapper. I didn't know she was a part of Junior Mafia. I
mm,
had no idea. So fast forward after Biggie has had some success, hit Biggie and Lance Rivera started their own label called Undias, and Little Kim was a part of Junior Mafia, and they were gearing up to break her out as a solo artist. So called me, and he said, "You have to be her stylist. I
mm.
want you to come up with her image, and let's shake the world up." And we did.
Did you feel at that time that you were actually creating iconic styles, that you
Oh
were
no.
creating styles that
I
today's
didn't even know
artists?
what iconic style would mean. I was just true to who I was. I believed in myself. Your mind as a creative is your most powerful tool. And I just wasn't afraid to be in my mind and imagine and dream and, trust the visions that I had, because it's as creatives, our gift is coming from God. Like, we're channeling, we're inspired by our environment, by what we see, what we feel. We're very sensitive to everything. And so I really was able to be in a bubble. There wasn't social media at that
Yeah.
time. There wasn't a lot of opinions. Wasn't a lot of outside noise. And so it was easy for me to be in my own world and create. And to this day, I'll go quiet and I'll take a break from social media, and I'll just be in my own thoughts, in my own world, so that I could get that energy up and really get into my gift and allow God to work through me and allow myself to come up with the images and the fashion stories that I do.
I love that. So this picture that I just put up, how did you come up with this idea? What was the thought process of that?
Okay, so this look was inspired by Missy Elliott. One day I was hanging out with her at her home, and we were talking music, fashion, and she said, "You know what? Kim is so gangster. Like, if I was Kim, I would just have one titty out. Like, F it. I would just have one. Kim is that gangster that she could do some stuff like that."
Uh,
And I was like, yes, she is. But I didn't, put the whole look together. But I was inspired by her words and what she said. And Missy's a master visionary,
yeah.
innovator.
Okay.
Missy gets
Yeah.
down. And so I just stored that in my head. And the next event that we had coming up was the MTV Music Awards. And so I decided to pull that inspiration out and work around it. And because she would have one breast exposed and it was going to be on television, I wanted to make it very girly and very pretty and feminine. I used Indian bridal fabric to create that custom look. I worked along with Dionne Alexander,
Mm.
who did her hair, and Zinga Gums, and we were the dream team glam squad for Kim at at that time. And it was just, again, just us doing us, Kim doing Kim. We didn't think it would become, this most talked about
Yeah.
MTV Awards look ever, but it did become that. And again, it speaks to being in your authenticity, trusting your ideas, and just going with it. And then things that I do, they don't ever really look like anyone else because I'm tapped into my
Yeah.
aesthetic and my gift.
Right.
And I always encourage creatives to do the same thing, because we all have that. We all have something special about us that we can give to the world as our gift and as our contribution through our art. And you just have to know what that is. You can't be the best trying to be like someone
Yeah.
else or be influenced by someone else. You can be inspired by someone else, but you really have to know what that is that's special about you. And that was one of the reasons that I started the Misa Hylton Fashion Academy, because I wanted to create a free space for creative learning and to really bring out the gifts and talents of the students that come to the academy.
Yes, I was going to get to that right now with the Misa Hylton Fashion Academy.
Yes.
Started, you wanted to give back and teach people how to do, what you do or bring out their gifts. Can you
Yeah.
tell us about your academy?
Yeah, so my academy was founded in 2012, and I wanted to give back to people who look like me, to Black and Brown people who have been marginalized, people who have been underserved, people who have not been able to have the access that I was able to gain. And so I not only wanted to share the wisdom and knowledge, I also wanted to, give them all of the tools that they needed as far as business to excel, to create longevity, to succeed, to be a mentor. So while they're going on their journey in fashion, they have someone that they can speak to about the issues that come up. Because there's certain things that we go through as Black and Brown people that others don't have to go through. There are certain, we don't always understand the culture and the etiquette that's needed for these different areas of fashion. I mean, being a editorial fashion stylist is different than from being a celebrity stylist or working in television and film as a stylist or a costume designer, wardrobe stylist, and it's different from working in advertising. And so it's all very different, but it's still under fashion styling and wardrobe styling. And so I wanted to also share that knowledge and let stylists know that you don't have to just work with celebrities. There's so many opportunities out there for you that probably would better connect with who you are. And so to understand who you are as a creative, what types of environments you want to work in, and then what is the business that needs to happen to go around that area of fashion styling, and also what is the etiquette that you need
Yeah.
to be able to not only get in the room, but to stay in the room, because people are not going to tell you when you mess up. People are not going to tell you when you didn't do something in the right way. And it's not because you wanted to, it's because you didn't know, you didn't have the information and the knowledge.
So how can people they sign up for the academy, and then how can people donate? Because I know
Yes.
we want to be able to support stylists and
Yeah.
creatives. And how can we do that?
Well, you can do both through our website. It's www.misahyltonfashionacademy.com. You can donate through the website. You can sign up through the website. You can apply, and then we do an interview process. Also, um, we are we have if you go on Amazon Smile,
Okay.
if you go through Amazon Smile to make your purchases, we are also one of the organizations there that you
Oh,
can
nice.
choose, so that a portion of what you're spending goes back to the Fashion Academy.
Oh, I love that. So yeah,
Yeah.
everybody needs to participate, go on the website, go to Amazon Smile to really support these creatives. So
Yes.
you start going into brand collaborations. I love
Mhm.
that you have a new collab out with Macy's Inc. and
Yes.
Icons
Yeah.
of Fashion. I love that. People
Yeah.
need to go to their Macy's to see these wonderful designs. You created these designs for Macy's for this line, correct?
I worked with Inc., which is one of Macy's lines, and I'm part of the Black Icon
Yes.
project, spearheaded by Dionne, and it's myself, Zarina Akers, Amina Jalil, Brooklyn Circus, Alan Onaya, and we're the five Black designers who had an opportunity to work with the Macy's brands, and it's been an amazing experience. Truly wonderful. This has been my first time working with a department store, which
Yeah.
is a new experience for me, and I learned so much. It's really been great.
So I went on the site, and then you can also go to, they have the windows. It's beautiful windows with
Oh
glass.
yes,
It's
yeah,
like,
and that was a surprise because we didn't know that was going to happen. I remember someone tagged me in a photo that they took outside of the window, and I was like, "What? Hold on, wait a minute. We didn't know about that." And I text Duran, and he was like, "Oh, I can't tell you everything." So it was the
well,
most beautiful surprise.
I've seen people go to the windows, take photos of it. So people need to go to Macy's. You can see the
Yes.
windows and the clothes. What was your aesthetic for this line? I love it. I've been
So
on.
now we all have 3 drops. So we have spring, summer's coming soon, and then we have fall. So it's more to
Okay.
come, girl. More to come, more fire from all of us. But
And you can order right on Macy's.
yes, you can order on Macy's.com. My inspiration for the spring drop goes back to my Japanese and Black um, culture and heritage, and just really being inspired by my love for prints and my love for bold color. And
Yeah.
I wanted to create something very feminine that made every woman feel beautiful and powerful.
It's absolutely beautiful. People need to go to
Thank you.
Macy's.com. I've been on it. It is absolutely beautiful. The prices are also affordable. We need
Yes,
to
they
also
are.
support Misa. If you want to get her look and styled by her,
Yes.
this is the way to do it. And you also are you a global creator for MCM?
Yeah, global creative partner for MCM. I work with them to do custom design pieces to address the needs of the market, and I do one of a kind pieces for them. And I also work with them. They work closely with the Academy as well. They've been a huge supporter in us growing our programs, and it's really been a beautiful relationship, which started through the remix film that I'm in, the remix Hip Hop Times Fashion. MCM funded that, and that's how we met, and the rest is history.
Yeah, so the remix, the documentary, is on Netflix. I've watched it several times.
Yes.
So good, and brings me back down memory lane as well. I didn't know MCM was funded it, but I love your collaboration. You also, I'm going to bring this picture up. You also created this look for Beyonce with
Yes.
the video with the
Yes, I did. Yes.
bodysuit. What was your thought pattern when you created this?
Well, Zarina Akers reached out to me, and she needed a look for this secret project. Everything with Queen Bee is, secretive and under wraps. And she called me and she said, "You know what? I need an outfit for her. I need a full look, but I need it in 3 days, and I needed to get to Paris." And so we had a little creative chat, and I, decided to come up with the MCM bustier and the peony, the jacket, the cap. And we did some custom earrings. So it's a complete custom MCM look. And I found out when the rest of the world found out what it was for. I believe it was a Saturday, and I'm scrolling on Instagram, and everybody starts tagging me, and I just start seeing these clips from the video, and I almost fell out on the floor because I thought it was maybe for like the tour they were doing. Like it was going to be part of the montage that they do while they're performing it. You see in the background the video that plays, but no, it was the video from the Everything Is Love album.
That is major. So one of my last questions is, do you see the artists nowadays? What do you think about their looks? How, when you see something that was influenced by you during that time, what do you think about it? Who's some of your favorite artists today?
Oh boy, I'm always really excited to see reinterpretations of some of the work that I've done. It excites me. It makes me feel really, really grateful, and like that I have contributed to the fashion world in a way that's so powerful that is 3 decades later, and the looks and the styling aesthetic still has the same impact that it did before, and that it still keeps people interested and excited, and it's a go-to for them when they're looking to be inspired to create. And so yeah, it's a beautiful, wonderful feeling. And as far as artists that I love today, I love her. I love Sweetie. I love Megan Thee Stallion. I love Favi. I'm a hip hop girl to the core. So I love Nico Brim, my son.
Oh yeah.
Yes, who's an artist. I love music, and I love everyone who's coming to the table and authenticity and their power. I just love it. I love the energy. I love the
Yeah.
energy of music. I love the energy of hip hop, and that will be who I am until the day I'm not here anymore.
Yeah. So, and you also, the last thing do you have a new fragrance that's coming out as well?
Okay, so that was an MCM fragrance, and it is a fragrance that can be worn by male or female. It smells amazing, and the packaging that it's in is a little leather backpack with stones on it. It's like a collector's item. You got
I
to
got
get one. It's
I
like a
got
must
you.
have. You want it on your
I gotta get it.
dresser.
I
Yes,
have to get that.
yes,
I want to thank you so much. During our Emerge Fashion Show, we have a fashion
yes.
innovator award. I'm hoping one day I can honor you. We love you. When I put you out that I was going to be interviewing you, these people was just so amazed. They love you so much.
Oh,
We
thank you.
appreciate all the things that you have done in the industry and the culture for the 30 years.
Yes.
You have made it's so rich in history and fashion. I just
Thank
wanted to
you.
let you know from me and my audience that we really appreciate
Oh,
you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And so don't hang up yet, Misa.
Okay, I won't.
But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We had a little glitch, but you guys held on. You could also watch this on back on YouTube on the Emerge Fashion Show YouTube page, and also Spotify and iTunes. Thanks. Bye.